Once upon a time there was a king who had fallen head over heels in love with a girl with skin as white as snow. He married her, and they lived happily ever after. Or maybe you've heard the story before. Let me tell it to you again. There once was a king who had fallen head over heels in love with a girl with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. He married her, and they lived happily ever after. The king and the queen were very happy together, and soon she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who had skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. You see where I'm going with this? All the girls in this story have skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. And when I say all the girls, I mean the good girls. She's like the dancing sea spray. So one day, Queen Blanche-Neige sits on her throne made of ice and listens to her 7 little maids scrub the palace floors and sing songs about their day while doing chores. They're singing about a handsome prince who visited the market and bought fine fabrics, ribbons and lace, all white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony. Her heart pounded like a drum made of ice. She wasn't invited to the market that day. But then, hey, neither were her maids. She missed the handsome prince. It had been so long since anyone had come to visit. The queen sat down on a nearby stool and looked out the window as the sun glistened off the snowdrifts. Then she called out, "Oh, how I wish I could be as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony." Her 7 maids stopped scrubbing the floor and stared at her in horror. "My queen," they cried, "you already are as white as snow, as red as blood." But Blanche-Neige shook her head sadly. She wanted to be even whiter than snow, even redder than blood, and even blacker than ebony. "I need something beautiful to wear." Her 7 maids hurried over to her and said, "We'll make you a dress, O queen, so beautiful, so exquisite. It will make you the most beautiful girl in the whole wide world." And Blanche-Neige beamed at them.
"Oh, thank you!
"I know just what I want." And so the 7 maids went into the forest to gather materials for the dress. The tall trees stood like soldiers in the distance, and the little birds sang merrily from their branches. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and the sun shone through the trees like golden coins. As the maids walked deeper into the forest, they came across a clearing where 7 dwarf houses stood in a circle. Smoke rose from their chimneys, and the sound of hammers rang out from their workshops. The maids hesitated outside the clearing, unsure what to do next. One of them knocked timidly on the nearest house. A moment later, a little man with a bushy beard opened the door. "Good morning," he said with a smile. "Can I help you?" The maid explained that they needed materials for a dress, and the dwarf nodded his head. Of course," he said, leading them inside. "We have everything you need." The other 6 dwarves welcomed the girls warmly and led them to their stockroom, where bolts of fabric lay stacked high. The maids chose the finest materials, white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony. Then they thanked the dwarfs for their help and hurried home. When Blanche-Neige saw the beautiful fabrics, her heart soared. "You are the best maids in the whole wide world," she cried, throwing her arms around them. "I am so happy." Then she ordered them to sew the fabrics into a dress with a tight bodice and a full skirt. When they were done, she slipped it on and twirled in front of the mirror. "It's perfect," she whispered, her eyes shining with happiness. Now, when King Blanche-Neige was taking a stroll in the garden that evening, he noticed 7 dwarfs. "Hello, little men," he greeted them. "What brings you to my kingdom?" "We're looking for someone to be our queen," one of them replied. "Oh, and why not?" asked the king. "Because we are very busy during the day working in our mine, and we need someone to take care of our house. We need someone kind, intelligent, and beautiful." "Kind, intelligent, and beautiful," repeated the king, thinking of his wife. Then he got an idea. "Why don't you come with me to the castle? I'll introduce you to my wife, and you can decide if she's right for the job." The dwarfs agreed, and the king led them to the throne room, where Blanche-Neige sat on her icy throne. "My love," he said, "these are the 7 dwarfs. They're looking for someone to take care of their house, and I thought you would be perfect for the job." Blanche-Neige gasped in surprise. She didn't want to go live with the dwarfs, but she couldn't say no to her husband. The next morning, Blanche-Neige woke up early and told her husband that she was going to visit the dwarfs. She put on a simple dress and walked through the forest. The dwarfs' houses were easy to find. They were the only ones with smoke rising from their chimneys. Blanche-Neige knocked on the door of the nearest house and waited patiently. A little man with a bushy beard opened the door and stepped back in surprise. "Well, hello," he said. "Are you here about the job?" Blanche-Neige smiled politely and nodded her head. "Very well. Come in, he said, leading her to the kitchen table. "Have some breakfast." As Blanche-Neige sat down, she noticed that the dwarfs were staring at her curiously. "What is it?" she asked. Nothing," one of them replied quickly. "It's just that you're not like the other girls who come to our house. They're always loud and messy, and they don't help us at all." "Oh, I'm not like those girls," Blanche-Neige promised. "I'll take good care of your house." After breakfast, Blanche-Neige helped the dwarfs set up their tools and prepare for their day in the mines. Then she took a broom and began sweeping the floor. The dwarfs watched her for a moment, then went back to their work. Then she dusted the furniture and polished the windows until they sparkled. As she worked, she hummed a happy tune. The dwarfs returned home at dusk, and Blanche-Neige had finished cleaning by then. They ate dinner together, and afterwards, Blanche-Neige retired to the bedroom she shared with the other girls. The dwarfs had given her a small room with a narrow bed and a rickety wardrobe, but Blanche-Neige didn't mind. She was happy to live with the dwarfs and help them take care of their house. Every morning, Blanche-Neige woke up early and did all the housework for the 7 dwarfs. In the afternoon, she would walk through the forest and pick flowers to decorate their house. At night, she would tuck the other girls in and sing them lullabies until they fell asleep. The other girls loved Blanche-Neige. They thought she was the best queen they could ask for. And the 7 dwarfs were very grateful to her. They knew that without her help, their house would be in chaos. As the years passed, Blanche-Neige grew older, but she never forgot how lucky she was to have found a place where she was loved and appreciated. She learned that true beauty came not from her appearance, but from her kind heart and helpful nature. And that's the end of the story.